Was Marilyn Monroe a secret genius or a helpless, almost childlike victim of circumstance who even in death has to be coddled and shielded at every turn? I was thinking about this today because the Academy Museum has an upcoming exhibit honoring Marilyn Monroe for her 100th birthday. And while a lot of people were excited about this, there were also, like I expected, an outcry of modern day Marilyn stans saying, "Let her rest. Hasn't she been through enough? I wish people would just stop talking about her and let her rest." I think such an outcry is warranted when it comes to trauma porn like Blonde from a few years ago. But why would some people assume a museum exhibit is equally exploitative and in bad faith? I don't think it comes from an interest in history or presenting the facts of this person's life like they actually happened. I think it's this obsessive protectiveness that we've seen across decades of celebrity culture. You know, the fans of Taylor Swift don't want to hear a negative word about her, or not even a negative word, but a word that contradicts who she is in their minds. And what tipped me off on this was this comment that took issue with the image that they used for this post, where she is wearing sort of a revealing outfit like she was in many of her photo shoots, publicity photos, etc. Why are we still sexualizing Marilyn Monroe from beyond the grave? Which one I don't think this post is doing at all. But it is also obtuse as hell to look back at Marilyn Monroe's legacy and act like sex had nothing to do with it. Marilyn is like the queen of both things can be true for her time, right? Like a woman can be more than one thing. By her own account and by the accounts of several people who actually knew her, she was very intelligent, always had a book in her hand, very intellectually curious. It's also incredibly well corroborated that her on-screen persona and who she was off-screen, not the same person. There's a lot of accounts of her being a little more shy, a little more reserved. Even the way she spoke and carried herself was completely different. You hear a lot of stories of her going out in public and not putting on, the Marilyn show, as it were, and people not even recognizing her. After she becomes this established phenomenon, she is making great efforts to improve her craft and be taken more seriously as an actress, expand the type of roles that she's known for. But what's equally true is at the beginning of her career, when she was getting into this business, she was incredibly aware of her assets, so to speak, and how accentuating them could get her ahead. Her costume designers who worked very closely with her talk about her insistence on tighter and more revealing clothing. She's a very nuanced person. All of these things can be true, that she dealt with a lot of trauma in her life, that she really wanted to be taken seriously and hone her craft as an actor, and later on try to move away from that sex symbol image. But to act like this enduring image that we all remember decades later in these great performances and these great parts she had absolutely zero creative input in, that's insulting to her own intelligence and creativity. And Marilyn's just one example, but there's all of these old Hollywood stars that people try to flatten. They are perfectly likable, perfectly relatable, the perfect unimpeachable genius or the perfect unimpeachable victim. The situation is always a lot more nuanced than that. I know that's basically copy pasta at this point, but it's true.